Hi, in this video, I'm going to talk about anointing. Anointing is an ancient practice. The word anoint actually comes from the Latin in and ungere, and ungere means to cover or to rub on oils. So it's a word that from the beginning, from Latin times, meant to apply oils to oneself. And it's used a lot in the Christian faith, but it is not limited to that. It's been done in many cultures. And one of the things I really like about anointing is that it reminds us that spirituality isn't something that's up there, but that it's really about being in the body, and that our body is the temple of the sacred. It's about reminding ourselves by anointing that the body is a sacred blessing. And many years ago, I came up with something called a 9-point anoint. And I like it because it sort of rhymes, so then it's easy to remember. And also 9 is a very sacred number. It's the number of wisdom and completion and truth. It's a number I've been fascinated with for many years. And over the years, I've learned more and more about the magic of the number 9. So the 9-point anoint starts out, you can do it in any order really, but I like to go from top to bottom so that I remember to cover all the points. And I start on the right temple, the third eye, the left temple, the right jugular, the frenulum, the area between the lip and your nose, the left jugular, the right wrist, the heart, and the left wrist. Now you can anoint in any which way that makes sense to you. Many people like to anoint the bottom of their feet. That's an ancient practice. That's something you can do for yourself or for each other. Or if you're in a hurry, you want to be really focused, you could do a 1-point anoint. You could just go on your third eye or on your heart. So there's different ways to do it. I just like the 9-point anoint. The other reason I came up with it was because I was trying to think of all the blood vessels that could get the molecules and the aroma into the brain. So you've got the temples, the carotids, the pulse points here, and then smelling it here, and the third eye and the heart. So that's why I picked those 9 points. So what else is important when you anoint? One thing, it's really important to have a really clear intention in mind. Sometimes you might be in a place where you can't say it out loud, but if you can, it's good to say it out loud. It's also good not to use the word not, because the unconscious doesn't really hear the word not. So if you say, I don't want to be in pain, the unconscious only hears, I want to be in pain. So even if it's something you want to rid yourself of, avoid the use of the word not in intentions. For many years, when I worked in an inpatient psychiatric unit, because there's a lot of intense energies, a lot of human suffering that's accumulated in those places, I would anoint myself twice a day. I'd anoint myself in the morning before going to work, and I'd anoint myself in the evening when I came home from work. And at the time, I used Palo Santo until the Palo Santo let me know that that wasn't needed anymore. So in the morning, I would do the 9-point anoint like I showed you. Or the other way you can anoint yourself is put a drop in your hand and sort of anoint your aura, just cover yourself like that. And so in the morning when I put on the Palo Santo, before I went to work on the inpatient unit, I just imagined myself being covered in a bubble of light so that I could be open and loving and open-hearted and not take on too much of all the heavy energy. And then in the evening when I came home, again, I anointed myself, and I just imagined myself clearing off all the energy I had taken on and it returning to the earth. I'm going to show you how to anoint yourself now, and then how to anoint someone else. So this is where my pouch comes in very handy. I'm going to use sandalwood, one of my favorite oils. And I like to use, when I anoint myself, I like to use the ring finger. I'm right-handed, so I use the right hand, because the ring finger is the heart chakra meridian. So there's love in the touch. And that's when you do it with yourself or with someone else, put love in your hand. So my intention is to stay centered and open-hearted and to embark on the tasks ahead with joy and love. So I start with the right temple, the third eye, the left temple, the right jugular, the frenulum, the left jugular, and I'm going to switch hands. I'm going to go on my left wrist, my heart, and my right wrist. So that's how you anoint yourself. And this is how you anoint someone else. So this is galbanum that Kathy chose, and what is your intention, love?
My intention is, since I've just got back home after a long travel, my intention is to be able to keep centered, not be anxious or stressed with all the things that I've got to do, keep centered and take them one by one and stay in the present moment. And that's why I chose galbanum.
And could you put your intention in maybe one sentence?
To stay centered and approach the tasks that I have to do in the present moment with peace and love.
Okay, and 1 drop's usually good enough for 3 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, 9, and that's the 9-point anoint, and that's how you anoint someone else. After you've anointed yourself, I like to carry my oil with me, so then every time I smell it on myself unconsciously, most of the time you're not even conscious of smelling it, you are reminded of the intention, or you can take the bottle out, anoint yourself again throughout the day, or just smell the bottle. And scent is very linked to memory, so every time you smell that oil, then it'll unconsciously remind you of your intention. And you can work with the same oil for a long time. I recommend that to really get to know an oil. You can use different oils in different contexts. And that's how we anoint.